Welcome to the Youngpreneur podcast, a show for young and aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start or scale their own business. Our podcast is dedicated to helping young people find a community and resources to start and grow their businesses. Hosted by Charlotte Enever and Linda Reed Enever, our passion is seeing the future of business grow.
Hi, welcome to the Youngpreneur Society podcast. I'm your host Charlotte Enever, and today I wanted to talk to you about my favorite productivity hacks. So, some of my favorite productivity hacks are using a planner. My personal favorite planner is the Youngpreneur Society planner. I've got some really useful ways to plan out the whole year, but also breaking those down into the weeks, days, months, and also just keeping your goals on track. But any sort of planner works for that, just making sure that you're breaking down your goals day by day so you keep things short and also sweet and easy, achievable goals. You don't want to be working for 12 hours just to achieve one thing when you can make yourself feel better about working on something that can keep you working towards a bigger goal, and choose one task that actually keeps you moving forward for the day. And if you just work on that for about 3 hours, I'd say that's probably the max that I would work on something for. You can really make some progress there and give yourself some space to move and go and do something fun. And how I like to go about my days is I pick 3 big to-dos per day. Instead of writing down one massive list of all the little things that I have to do, I might still do that, but I'll write down the big list and then I'll break it down and pick 3 things out of that big list that are the most important to achieve that day. And those are the ones that I have to achieve. Of course, if I don't get them done, I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway. It's a great thing about running your own business. You can do that. But I'll pick those 3 big things, whether that is, making some content for that day, writing some emails, and of course, you've got to fit your school stuff in there. So watching a lecture or writing some notes on that, or even studying for a certain subject. I'll write those down. Those will probably be my priorities for a day usually. And then if I can get to everything else that's on my list, that'd be great. But when I pick those 3 big to-dos, I also like to break those ones down. So for studying for a subject, if I'm rewatching a lecture, that'll be a breakdown of that subject or that thing to do for the day. And then I'll have to break that down into writing notes for that one and then revising those notes and making sure they look nice and pretty for exam season when I need to be revising those notes again. And when I need to participate in classes, because I do online schooling, that'll be another part of my studying for a certain subject. Or when I'm looking at doing videos, I'll break that down even more. Or emails especially, I'll go and look at what's the kind of emails I need to be responding to or writing to people, and then who I need to write those to, and then of course breaking that down into actually drafting those emails and then eventually sending them. Another really important thing that I think I've sort of already covered, but of course it's great to actually specify it, is time blocking. With your 3 big to-dos for the day, it's pretty general time blocking, especially if you're doing this for a week or a month and making yourself your own little schedule. I like to time block time for school out of my week. That'll be a couple of hours per day. And then of course pick certain days to work on the business, and I'll time block a couple of hours out for that. And for personal stuff as well, I've got guinea pigs I need to look after. So I'll time block some time for that to set up a routine for me as well. And it keeps me really on track of all the tasks that I need to be completing consistently. Of course, stuff that pops up every now and then might get in the way of that, and that's okay. A really great productivity hack that I have, and I use all the time, is a Pomodoro technique. Some of you may have heard of this already. I do think it's pretty popular, but then again, it's good to be reminded of it. You can't assume that everybody's going to know this. So the Pomodoro technique is 25 minutes of uninterrupted workspace. And this is also really important with your time blocking. If you're going to time block something and take time out of your day to do something, and it needs to be uninterrupted, make sure you have that uninterrupted time to focus on it. With the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of uninterrupted working time on whatever you feel you need to work on at that point in time. This is time to really tackle those 3 big to-dos. Of course, it might take longer than 25 minutes. You can adjust the times to suit your needs. If it's shorter, then fantastic. I'd say you get a longer break. But that's the way that I like to get around it. But for today's sake, let's say I'm doing 25-minute work on just making some videos. I'm creating some content, or I'm writing some emails. I'll write those for 25 minutes and then I'll have a 5-minute break. What's really important with these 5-minute breaks is taking a real break. you're not taking out your phone and scrolling. I do that quite often. I have to admit to that. But say for the first couple of times that you're doing this Pomodoro technique to really get yourself in that routine, 25 minutes of work, uninterrupted, in the headspace, in the zone, get some music going. I love to listen to musicals. Like I'll sort of pick one for the day, listen to the whole album. I think it's because they have a very similar sound and it all has to fit with the show. Musicals really help with me focusing, especially with this technique, because I can pause the music when I take that 5-minute break, and that sort of signals to me that I'm out of zone. I can do whatever I want. I can think about whatever I want for this 5 minutes time. And with these 5-minute breaks, real breaks, being that you're going out for a walk, even if you don't go outside, you're just walking around your house for a minute, grabbing a snack. I love probably some TV snacks when I'm working away. A healthier option would be carrots. Should probably look into those more. I'll go out and I'll hang out with my guinea pigs. So any sort of pets that you have, really great time in these 5-minute breaks to go hang out with them. If there's a short little thing that you were needing to read, like a book that you really wanted to read, just hold it out for 5 minutes. By the time you do 4 25-minute blocks of work and then 4 5-minute blocks of reading, you've got like 20 minutes down to that book. And that's really good. I also use this time for colouring and diamond dots. I think those are really nice to work away in those 5-minute breaks. So yeah, that's how I would use my Pomodoro techniques. And after 4 sets of the 25-minute work blocks, 5-minute breaks, I'd then switch to a 15-minute to 30-minute break. That's what's been suggested to me. I like to do that. It's really, really useful just to sort of give myself enough headspace, break it down. And you know, you've been working for so long. You deserve that break. And if it's been really intense, I will definitely take a 30-minute break. Going outside, I am eating, filling up my water bottle, saying hi to the guinea pigs, definitely having a scroll on my phone. Got to catch up on those messages, especially during the school holidays. Like, you got to keep people out and about. You got to keep up with that. Something that really helps me with this Pomodoro technique is the timer apps. There's quite a few of these out there that use Pomodoro technique. There's a lot that have little creatures like flowers, plants and stuff that it'll grow every time you do these focused work spots. And then when you take a break, it reminds you to take that break. It just keeps you really on track with those 25-minute, 5-minute breaks because the time is pretty consistent. And I think that the plants and the creatures and all of that really motivational, just adds a little bit of whimsy to the work that you're doing, and I find that really, really nice. So that is definitely one way that I do smaller time blocking spaces, because of course I'll time block out the big stuff and then continue time blocking until we get down to those 5-minute breaks, and then exactly what I'm doing in those 5-minute breaks. And with that time blocking, I also find time to batch tasks. That is an amazing way to get some productivity in. I've spoken about batching some content and making some content in those 25-minute blocks. So when I'm batching content, I'll make some uninterrupted time through my time blocking, and I'll still probably follow the 25-minute to 5-minute task, but you obviously don't have to. But I'll set out maybe an hour or two to make some content. I'll plan out a couple of outfits and ideas. Of course, these ideas might be made during those 25-minute writing times before I actually start to record. But batching content is, I'll grab some clothes to swap out some different outfits between video topics, just to make sure I look a little different. And I'll make sure I have my ideas right in front of me, easy access. And pretty much once I've decided my topics and I've got my outfit on, start recording, and then I'll just talk on whatever scripts I've got. Or if I'm doing a little skit, haven't done one of those before, probably would like to one day. And I'll get a couple out in that outfit, and then I can switch over, change out the earrings, top, whatever, small parts of my outfit, or I might add something different to my makeup, and then I'll do a couple of more of those ideas, or even I'll go back and repeat certain ones. Maybe I didn't like them before, or maybe I just thought it could look different, maybe it'll have a different message in the way that I'm feeling in the new clothes and new outfits and stuff. And then another way that I really like to batch content, my favourite, is you can do a bulk create on Canva. I like to do those, but any sort of faceless content is really, really easy to batch create because you just build it on your favorite builder, and that's really, really nice because you just have that. We use Google Drive, have that sitting away in our Google Drive ready to upload whenever we are ready, and it's just waiting for us. But other faceless content, just, typing away on the computer, scrolling on your phone, just some nice B-roll to overlay with some text and audio, is also really easy to batch. How I would probably do that is if I'm talking about some kind of topic and I'm making a video out of that where I'm facing the camera, then I can stay in that same outfit and make some B-roll. And then once I switch outfits after I've already spoken about some other different topics or done different story, different skit, I will then go back and possibly record the same B-roll. So I'll look a little different where I'm walking around, and of course you can batch content outside if you're in a really, really nice space. Just batch some B-roll, take in the scenery, but also record some stuff on your phone with that on. And when I am doing these videos, I do like to keep the videos recording. If I keep the camera recording between these videos or topics, then I can catch moments that are more candid, I suppose. And even just before I actually started recording this, when I did a couple of tries of the intro, because it wasn't really working for me before, I kept that rolling though, because I got to catch some more human moments myself. I might even use those for a blooper reel in some way. I'd use those more in videos, of course, since it's just an audio recording. But I find that really great. But I do also like to stop the recording when I am, of course, changing the outfits or entirely changing topics, just to make it easier to edit and for everybody else to work with. And then, of course, a major productivity hack I have is I've also time blocked out some time to use a content scheduler to help me load up this content while I can work on other things while this is going up. So I use a content scheduler. I'll spend, a 25-minute block just uploading some content at a time that works best for me. And I'll look at what my audience usually interacts with, and it'll go up at a certain time. You can go through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok with a nice caption. I'll have that video up, and then I don't have to worry about that. All I have to worry about is that I'm consistently uploading those videos. So those are some of my favorite productivity hacks that I use on the day-to-day. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope you find those helpful.
Thank you for listening to the Youngpreneurs podcast. Like this episode? Remember to subscribe and leave us a review. And join us in the Youngpreneur Society, a community for young entrepreneurs to explore the world of business. youngpreneursociety.com